Welcome to another Kings of War battle report. Abyssals versus the Brotherhood. 2,000 points. The scenario was plunder. Alright, if you guys have been watching my battle reports over the last few weeks, this is kind of the 2,000 point army I've settled on, and mostly it's from suggestions from my online friends. So you can just read it. I'm not going to read it out this time and waste your time, but I really have liked how this list is played, and had terrible luck with the Abyssal Horsemen, but on the other hand, they do attract enough attention to scare other people off. So anyway, just read through the list. I hope you enjoy. All right, I got the first turn this game and moved forward. I tried to label everything. You can see on the left flank, one of my units of Molochs moved up with the Abyssal Fiend in front of him and one of the Abyssal Warlocks in support. Next over was I moved up to the wall that was on the table, and one Abyssal Warlock, some ghouls, and Abyssal Guard behind them, another ghouls, Abyssal Guard behind them. Kind of left this unit of Molochs out to dry, but the idea was to maybe charge in there and try to get that other objective, token toward the end of the game. And over on the right flank, I made a pretty strong move, to get the to try to get that 2-point token. So I was really concentrating on the 2-point tokens this game, and just hoping I could get the other ones if possible. So I mean that should be a key to victory. Normally I wouldn't split up this much, but he split up his army quite a bit, so I really almost had no choice but to kind of space out along the table and try to get my objectives. So on turn 2, I went ahead and moved my Abyssal Warlock. He'd taken some damage from shooting up to attempt the cavalry. I screwed up here. I should have actually had the Molochs in the woods where they could charge along with the Abyssal Fiend, but I didn't do it. So that's a minor mistake there. Over on the one of my ghouls kind of angled toward that objective because I figured he was going to go after it here pretty soon. Not really much happening in the very middle. He just moved up on line, which is fine because I really had nothing there except the Molochs to stop him. With that, though, I had to angle the Abyssal Horseman to threaten the flank of his spear unit. Bale and the Abyssal Warlock did a couple of wounds to that unit of knights up in the corner, but pretty much a ho-hum of a turn. So on turn 2, Jim got some fire in his belly and decided to make an all-out assault on my army. Over on the left, the Abyssal Warlock took one for the team and died, I think, pretty horribly. In the middle, I think their Penients charged into my ghouls, doing 4 wounds to them. My unit of Molochs had taken a couple of wounds, I think, from the trebuchet that was over there. Over on the right, his knights moved up to threaten my forces quite a bit. He angled his spearmen so I couldn't flank charge them, and at some point in time I wanted the Abyssal Horsemen to try to take them out, even though they do have phalanx. My fact that I hit on 3s, makes it not quite as questionable to charge them, because over time I think I can grind them down because I really don't respect the amount of damage that unit can do. And so we'll just have to see how this thing turns out. Over on the left, the other thing I want to note is one of his units of knights has moved all the way from the middle and is coming toward my 2-point, the 2-point objective over there. On turn 3, we're going to probably have a big collision here. Okay, the action has heated up on my turn 3. Over on the left, after the Abyssal Warlock, he was actually devastated instead of killed. Jim rolled snake eyes, and so what I did with him is I backed up an inch, pivoted, and moved 6 inches toward his cavalry to try to pinch them off so that they couldn't charge the flank of the Abyssal Fiend, because the Abyssal Warlock is not an individual, so they can't just blow right through him. They actually have to kill him and hope for an overrun. The Abyssal Fiend did charge into the knights. I don't think he hardly did anything. Over in the middle, my ghouls the other unit of ghouls flank charged his Penients and destroyed them easily. They had some wounds on them, but that wasn't too bad. Over in the right, next to the house and stuff, my Abyssal Horsemen did charge in. They did 8 wounds, which is not great, but it's not horrible either. Bale, on the other hand, got tired of messing with his knights over there and charged in, and they had some wounds from shooting, so now they were up to 6 total, which is not enough to break them. But on the other hand, they're kind of stuck now because Bale's a tough guy, and eventually he will grind that unit down just because of his skills and the fact that he's brutal. At some point that he will take them out. If you can see the red dot on the right hand side, that's my Abyssal Warlock. He just went up there and decided it's time to take that objective because I know I can get it and then walk back off the hill and avoid being seen and secure that 2-point objective, because I really try to think anymore when I'm playing these games. I really try to think about the scenario the entire time and try my best not to worry about losing stuff so much unless it's key to the scenario. So in this turn, his knights countercharged the Abyssal Fiend, getting him up to 7, but I think he killed him on the first roll, but then he made the roll because he is inspiring. I'm not sure what his knights did this turn, but they had taken that objective there, and I don't know what they were waiting for. Maybe they, oh, I know what it was. They destroyed the Abyssal Warlock and then overran to right there on top of that objective. In the middle, I was absolutely shocked when his spearman went ahead and destroyed my Abyssal Horseman. I mean, I'd taken a lot of wounds, which I shouldn't have taken, but then, I was going to regenerate him, but then he rolled, I think, at 10 or 11 and one-shotted my Abyssal Horseman after only having, and with his heal and stuff like that, he was only down to 4 wounds. So that was a shocking occurrence, I have to admit. And then on the right-hand side, his knight countercharged, put 4 wounds on Bale, and hopefully Bale will just shake those off and go on. All right, pretty much every game that there is a turn of what I call the turn of Abyssal Retribution. In this game, on the left-hand side, the Molochs and the Archfiend, Abyssal Fiend, went ahead and destroyed that unit of knights there. In the very middle, I don't know what happened to my guys, but they must have rolled out their wazoo and wavered that unit of knights with a frontal charge, even though they were hindered. That's crazy. My other Abyssal Guard unit did 3 wounds to his foot knight guys there, paladins I think they are. Again, surprisingly, the spearmen took a charge from my Molochs and were only up to 10 wounds. That's better than what, like I said, there's no way they should beat that. They should have killed the other guys. I was hoping for a double charge and just eliminate them, but that didn't happen. But on the right-hand side, Bale did finish off his unit of knights and turned to face the flank of said spear unit. And so if they survive, my Moloch survive another turn, they're going to be a very dead spear unit. And you can see the Warlock has taken off with his 2-point objective and is walking away from the edge of the world there with it. The other objective, there's 1-point objective on the left. The Molochs have it over there. The objective in the woods, the Molochs have it right there. So right now I have easily have 5 points toward the scenario. And since his unit is wavered on that other on the other objective, I have a pretty good chance of taking it out too. So here's this fast forward to my turn 5, and this is the aftermath. Just utter devastation on the part of the Abyssals. The over on the left-hand side, he did manage to waver my Abyssal Fiend to keep him from charging his knights in the flank, but it didn't matter as the Abyssal Guard again went off and destroyed that unit of knights, and it's going to be able to secure that 2-point objective. And then again down to in the middle, the other Abyssal Guard went off and destroyed his paladins. I could not believe it. It was just some great dice rolling. Over in the middle, when Bale finally charges in to the flank of his spearmen, they go down, and of course by then the guys have regenerated. So we just called it at this point. There just wasn't. He had no units that could pick up any objectives or any tokens to take them off. So that was the end of the game. Okay, this game the Abyssals performed with brutal efficiency. I really think maybe if he would have loaded 2 units of knights in the same spot, he could have breasted through me, because I really had to respond to any unit of knights, because I've had the knights one-shot my Molochs before and one-shot my Abyssal Horsemen a couple of times. So I've learned that I have to protect them with chaff, or even if I have to give up characters and stuff to keep them safe. So, but when they countercharge, it's usually so good that um, they kill whatever they're after. And I've really been thinking about taking a unit of Molochs that can literally take a charge by putting the Dragon Shard shield on them, and that way they can take less wounds on the initial charge, and then of course with their regeneration they come right back, and their attacks are just, they're just devastating. 18 attacks on threes, the crushing 2 is pretty sweet as far as being able to handle any situation like that. Like I said, I think if Jim would have put 2 of his units of knights together, I think they could have overwhelmed one of my flanks. So just pick which one you wanted to. My goal in this game, like I said from the beginning, I was after the both 2-point objectives. There was one, and to that end, I split across the table, which I normally don't do. But I had some local superiority with my infantry and Molochs on the left-hand side, and then Baal and the Abyssal Horseman and the Abyssal Warlock on the right-hand side were able to, over the end of the game, take out those units of knights over there, and then proceed to kill the infantry in the middle. The surprise unit of this whole game was my Abyssal Guard. Now, both of those units at one time had taken 6 wounds, and then I used their imps and popped them and got them back up to 3. But their return whacks just wiped out those 2 units. I don't know if it was the combination. I don't remember if it was my dice were so good, but I think maybe I just got a lucky waiver on one of those units of knights. But that's all it takes, because the next turn I eventually killed them. Like I said, I think the Abyssals really showed how powerful they can be. I mean, I rolled decidedly poor for most things this game, but it didn't matter because they're very forgiving in the fact that, with their generation, and I have so much inspiring in my list right now that I think that helps my list a lot. Like you can even see over on the left side, you have the Abyssal Fiend, and he's inspiring the Molochs. Then right there in the middle, you see an Abyssal Warlock. He's inspiring both of those units of Abyssal Warriors. And then over on the left, you can see that Baal is there inspiring the other unit of Molochs. And then there's a self-inspiring Abyssal Wizard over there by himself. And so, like I said, I have a lot of inspiring, so that protects me from the worst dice rolls. I guess during the most important turn when Jim charged and killed my Abyssal Horseman with his Spearman, that was the one turn I did not have a inspiring unit near my units, which was a mistake, and that's why I lost that unit. So anyway, like I said, this was just an exhibition on how powerful the Abyssals can be, and I've had them be kittens as well, but this game they were actually pretty steady.